Okay, your senior year, you've got so much going on. You're going to graduate.
Yeah.
So at some point, another person comes into your life.
Well, after college, during college with volleyball, we traveled, and my roommate and I, Sheila, we always said after college we would go to Dallas. We would move to Dallas. She moved, and then 6 months later, I moved to Dallas. As soon as I moved here, I'm telling you, when you know God's will, it happens. I mean, I moved on a Sunday, Monday found a job, Tuesday found a church home. I mean, it was wonderful. And then met Nate, you know, like the fall season of 1986.
How did y'all meet?
You know, we both banked in the same building, had our insurance in the same building. And I didn't know this until later, but every time I showed up at the bank or to see my agent, he was always there. So he has taken an interest in me and was telling the agent, and so the agent was always calling, letting them know when I was there. And so anyway, long story short,
Of course, you're talking about Nate Newton.
Yes, Nate Newton, my ex-husband. You know, he was at my car one day and wouldn't let me in the car door, and you know, he was just flirting a lot. And anyway, I was in a hurry and told him why. I said, I'm going to celebrate my birthday with my family. And he said, your birthday? And I said, yes. He said, when is your birthday? I said, tomorrow. He said, my birthday is tomorrow. I said, okay. You know, I thought he was just saying that, but we were both born on the same day, the same year. And so it just struck the conversation. You know, one thing led to another. You know, we exchanged phone numbers, and we became friends. But guess what? This man, I mean, we carried baggage, similar baggage. I mean, hearing his story and what he had been through and what he had seen and what I had seen and the things that I experienced, it was so easy talking to him. I mean, and then he was very jovial, fun to be with.
What about the God card and all this? Because I know that would be a big deal for you.
Big deal. Remember, I'm an evangelist. You know, I know how to lead people to Christ.
Yeah.
They're not going to convert me because I know who my Redeemer is,
Yeah.
right? And so I always felt strong in my faith, and I never discriminated. You know, if you didn't know Christ, then I would make sure you knew him. And, you know, Nate, he knew who I was. He respected, he loved it. That's what he loved about me. But you know, eventually he had just gotten cut from the Washington Redskins team. He was trying to try out for the Dallas Cowboys. And so, you know, we just started hanging out. Our first date, I told him to come and watch me play volleyball. I was playing on a volleyball league, all sweaty, no makeup. You know, I just wanted to be myself. And, you know, in fact, we did that several times, you know, before we had a formal date. But, you know, God was first. But I'm telling you, that quick, I no longer, when he made the team, because it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I worked out with him. We worked hard. I encouraged him, you know, every step of the way. I wanted him to see what God can do in his life. And he made the Dallas Cowboy team. And then as
The team that would go on to do the greatest exploits for the Cowboys.
Yes, as active as I was in church, I no longer went to church on Sundays because I was supporting him. You know, it's like I could see how I was changing, you know, to conform to him and the things that he had to do.
Just a little slip.
Just a little slip.
Just a little.
But then that's all it took. Before long, I mean, 26 years old, a virgin, you know, had our first son before I was married. And I'm telling you, that was...
So what about that compromise? Because Dorothy, you had such a high standard. I mean, like you said, it was like a slow slipping away from
you know, I
everything you had always
Johnny.
stood so strong on.
I could see it, but I was so in love, and you know, I was the one always sharing Christ with people. You know, I was the one always encouraging. What I failed to realize is that I needed that too. I needed the accountability. I needed someone to walk with me. And all my friends, I had led them to Christ. Even Sheila, when I moved here to Dallas, I led her to Christ, even though we were roommates 4 years. So one thing led to another where I just found myself, you know, just trapped. And even before you know, we married, I could see signs of abuse, you know, but it was verbal. He wasn't hitting me. You know, he was verbalizing the abuse and hitting things. And then before long, you know, the abuse, he was hitting me.
So Doug, it would, like if someone's in a relationship right now and say there's no physical, but there's just maybe verbal or even emotional abuse, you got to pay attention to that now, don't you?
You want to, yeah, you want to hit that seed as soon as it starts showing up. So if you're a woman and you're being verbally abused, call, let somebody know, but also start some counseling process, get in some accountability, get him in front of your pastor so that you can start moving this, so it doesn't get to become what you've experienced, which was all kinds of abuse, physical abuse, and then as your story goes into him, infidelity and multiple situations.
Oh my goodness.
Probably pornography and all that stuff. And
So you had Trey,
Yes,
your
had
oldest,
Trey.
and so how old was he when y'all actually got married? And did you know there were, even when you were in the dating phase, there were other women in relationships? Did you have any idea?
I didn't have, what was revealing to me is when I was pregnant, I found out that he had 2 other children. Never ever knew that before. That was one thing. You know, we didn't get married right away. Trey was born in '89 and we got married in '92 because I just wasn't sure. But I still found myself, you know, like, this isn't gonna work. I've already messed up. You know, and I believe in living under the covenant, and I'm not going to mess up again. And so, you know, it was great. Things were really, really good. I mean, I think because there was no success with the Cowboys, you know, before that time. I mean, I was with him 1 in 15 season, you know, 1 win and 15 losses, that type of thing. So things were good, and so we got married in 1992. And the Cowboys won the Super Bowl that year. And ever since then, imagine 3 Super Bowl wins, but there's 2 back-to-back. Then you're in the AFC, NFC playoff, you lose, but that's still a natural high. And then win again. And so out of the 14 years we were together, 10 of those years, Nate was always in trouble. Headline news, DUI, DWI, assault, you know, one woman accused him of rape. You know, there was always so much trauma in our family. And so every time, you know, and so he was in the streets a lot. He was coming in late, demanding that I cook a full-course meal. There was so many demands on my life. And when I would refuse, or when he calls and nag him, the abuse happened. A lot of times I would try to refrain because I didn't want to get beaten up, you know, and yet all this success is happening in the world. Public success, but private struggles at home.